Medical school teaches you the Krebs cycle, the anatomy of the whole body, managing complex, rare conditions, but there are so many things that I learned in my first few months as a doctor that medical school just didn't prepare me for, and today I'm going to share these things with you guys. Hey guys, I'm Srideep, a junior doctor in the UK, and today I'm going to be talking about the things that I learned in my first few months as a doctor that I didn't learn at medical school. First of all, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm a junior doctor in the UK and I make videos on medicine, lifestyle, doctor vlogs, being a doctor, that kind of thing. So if you're interested in this kind of content, please do consider subscribing to my channel. So in 6 years of medical school, you learn a lot. You learn theory, you learn clinical practice, you learn communication skills, you learn ethics, you learn a lot of information. And there are so many things that I didn't learn until I actually started working as a doctor. And I really wish someone told me these things before I started working, because most of these things I learned from making mistakes. So this is more of a reflective video from me to you, so I can share my experiences of the first few months of working as a doctor so that you don't make the same mistakes. I've got 3 things that I want to talk to you guys about today, so without any further ado, let's go to point number 1. Nothing happens instantly in a hospital. So in medical school finals or in any medical school exam, you get a question like, this patient has come in with shortness of breath, the observations are this, the bloods show this, the ECG shows this, the chest x-ray is shown below, what's the diagnosis? Every piece of information is put together so neatly that it sounds too good to be true. And it is too good to be true because it's never true, it never happens like this. Everything takes time in real life in a hospital. The first thing is you actually have to find the patient. So you get bleeped, you get called to go and see a patient, and then you have to find them probably on the other side of the hospital. The first thing you have to do is obviously make sure the patient is stable, and then you can do your other things. So do an A to E approach and see the patient is stable, and then you can read through the notes, you can ask the nurses what the problem is, because you've probably never seen this patient before. You can do the bloods, get IV access, but then blood results take like an hour or 2 hours to come back. Then you have to order a chest x-ray, and getting a chest x-ray takes quite a long time. You have to order the chest x-ray on the computer, you have to call x-ray department, then someone comes up with the machine, they do it on the patient, then it takes some time to get processed and onto the computer, and then you have to log in, look at the images, and then make a decision. My point is, nothing happens like this. The good thing about this, I promise you guys this isn't a rant video, this is just a reflection. The good thing is that whilst you're waiting for the bloods to come back, you can do something else. So as long as the patient's stable and you've done your initial management, like give oxygen, sit the patient up, start any treatments that you need to start, you can go and do something else. You can do the cannula that's needed next door, or you can review this other patient before you come back and review this patient's bloods. But yeah, it can be very frustrating sometimes when nothing happens instantly. It's not like everything flows naturally, smoothly, and all the results come when you want them to come. The main thing is prioritizing your work, seeing the unwell patient first, and then going to do your other jobs. I mean, it happens all the time. The printer breaks down, the ECG machine breaks down, your mind breaks down, but you just have to keep going because it is a wonderful job and it is very enjoyable. Rant over, let's go to point number 2. There is always someone to help you. So there's a quote from Harry Potter which goes something like, wait, let me just check. Help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. And that is so true for the hospital. The hospital is basically like Hogwarts, where there's always someone to help you. Towards the end of medical school, I was sort of panicking, thinking I'd have to manage everything, or at least have to know how to manage everything and be able to sort of do everything, and there's going to be such a high expectation on me to do things. And this isn't strictly true. So look at it this way. I work in a district general hospital. In paediatrics, we have a lot of complex patients with issues such as cardiology or gastroenterology problems, and for advice we sometimes ask more specialist centres like tertiary centres, so a more specialist cardiology hospital. And so the consultants in our hospital ask more specialist cardiology paediatric consultants for advice regarding complex patients. So my point is, even consultants ask for advice, so it's well within our rights as a junior doctor within our first days, weeks, months of training to ask for help when we need it. Sometimes it can be difficult when you're on the phone asking for advice. It might seem like the other person's doing you a favour, but at the end of the day, it's not about you, it's not about them, it's about the patient. And it's always 10 times out of 10 better to ask, maybe get slightly embarrassed, but get the help you need when you need it for the patient, rather than forgetting to ask or being too shy to ask, and then, you know, something go wrong. On my first day working as a doctor, I was on call, and so between 5 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. I was the person covering the wards, seeing any unwell patients. And it was extremely scary because it was my first day working as a doctor, and I was just told, you have this bleep and you'll be called if there's anyone unwell or anything that needs doing on the wards. And this deteriorating patient who I went to see, I didn't really know what was going on. I managed to do an A to E approach, but then I looked through the notes and I wasn't quite sure of why the patient was deteriorating, and I was scared. I was really nervous. The patient was deteriorating and I didn't really know what the best next thing to do would be. And I ended up calling the IT registrar, the surgical registrar, the medical registrar, because I wasn't confident in what I was doing and I really wanted another opinion to make sure what I was doing was safe. And in hindsight, there was definitely a better way I could have handled the situation now I look back onto it, but I'm happy that I called for the help because I needed that help, because it was my first day, and I think calling for help was better than not asking for help and if something were to deteriorate or something were to worsen for the patient. And this does get better over time. You start to learn new things, you build confidence in yourself, and you don't make the same mistakes twice. No matter what the situation, you can always ask for help. The main thing here is taking care of the patient, whether it's you can manage the situation yourself or you have to call all the specialists from the whole hospital. The main thing is the patient. Let's move to my final point, point number 3. Being a doctor has such a massive impact on your life, whether that's your social life, your everyday life in general. And towards the end of medical school, I knew that being a doctor would have its toll on me, but it is actually much more than I ever thought. It's a wonderful job, but the shifts are so intense, the days are long, and the job is physically and emotionally and mentally draining. Especially in my first few weeks as a doctor, even on a normal day, which is for us 9 to 5:30, you get home, you have something to eat, but I couldn't keep my mind off the wards or what I was doing in the day. In the first few weeks especially, I was thinking, did I do this right? Did I make a mistake here? Did I finish this job? And it was constantly playing on my mind. It was really hard to switch my mind off from work mode to off-duty mode because I was constantly thinking about work. And because of COVID, and especially because of where I live, we've been in constant lockdown and the situation has not really changed since last March for us. So no big parties, no going out, no going anywhere really. And despite having nothing to do except going to work, coming back, eating, sleeping, and repeating this every single day, I'd still be really tired. So I know that if COVID wasn't a thing and we could go out, meet with everyone freely, that I'd have to say no to a lot of commitments because of the impact that work was having on me. And that's just something I learned on the job that I didn't know at medical school, that what a huge impact it would have on my life. Right now, I feel that free time is so valuable and that every minute is so precious. Right, this is getting way too deep, but all I'm saying is if you go in knowing that this job will have a massive impact on your life, you can plan accordingly. So those points were the 3 things I learned being a doctor that I didn't learn at medical school. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please do give it a like and please do consider subscribing to my channel for loads more content coming up. If you have any questions whatsoever, please do let me know down in the comments below. And if you're a doctor and there's something that you didn't learn at medical school, I'd be really interested to hear it. So please do comment down below and it'll be really interesting to get everyone's thoughts. So thank you so much, take care, stay safe, and see you guys next time.